Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
They were trying to lose. They tried hard tonight, Dan.
Yeah, they did. Columbus wouldn't let them. Columbus would not let them lose tonight.
Nope. Unbelievable. I would say on a boring scale of 1 to 10, the first 56 minutes were about an 8 as far as
10 being the most boring.
10 being the most boring.
Yeah.
I would say that was
I
a
agree.
7.5 to an 8, and then the last 4 minutes were like a 2.
Yeah.
That was a crazy last 4 minutes of a game, and we will talk about it. We're the Uncle Puckers, Chris and Dan. Merry Christmas, man. How was your holiday season, your days off?
Pretty good. Loving the Christmas season. It's always a great time of the year, and especially now that the shopping and all that pressure's over. You know, get to chill out this week. This whole week's great, right? Between Christmas and New Year's, it's kind of fun.
I had this was one of my better Christmases that I could remember. The kids they enjoyed everything. They loved everything that they got. We, on Christmas Day, it was just the four of us, me and my wife, the two kids, hung out all day, watched movies, went out to dinner. It was just fucking chill and cool.
Nice.
The only thing that would have made it better was if there was a hockey game on. But
that's true. Yeah. Well, you had football.
I did have football. If you want to call what my team does out on the field every Sunday football,
Well, it's
been
a tough one.
A lost season for the Minnesota Vikings is all I could say, because I do believe that if Kirk Cousins stayed healthy, if Justin Jefferson was healthy all year, Marcus Davenport was healthy all year, I do think they could have made a run. And I'm not saying they could have won the Super Bowl, but they would have been one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFC. And now they have to win out, and they need help to even make the playoffs. But
right,
I'm and I was just actually talking about this at work too, I don't want them to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
think you're better
really
off
don't.
not. Now, why is that?
Okay,
because I feel like this is a question for Devils fans that we might face in the future.
No, this is for hockey. I absolutely think that Devils missing the playoffs is just that's a sin. It can't happen.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. But why is it not so bad for Minnesota in your mind?
Well, Minnesota, the Vikings are have always been as an organization. They are just they're just 500 no matter what. They're always just swimming in mediocrity. And because of that, occasionally they'll have good seasons where they pop up and they'll make it to an NFC championship game or something like that. But for the most part, they make the playoffs. They lose in the first round. Yep. And then they pick 20, 21, 22 in the draft.
And that's what it's all about, the draft. You're saying you're not capitalizing on a truly horrible year, which in the end has the same difference as going out in the first round to some extent.
Exactly. So my whole thing is if you go and you make the playoffs, and you're not going to win the Super Bowl, we know that. So what's the sense? You're going to go and lose in the wild card weekend, even if you went and won that game and lose divisional playoffs, and then you're back to picking 20, 21, 22 in the draft, as opposed to not making the playoffs and picking. If they don't make the playoffs, if they lose their next 2 games, they might be a top 10 pick. And hey, I'm looking at it saying, okay, make the playoffs, lose, on a Sunday 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, or get a top 10 pick in the draft. I'll take the top 10 pick.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It would take a lot for the Devils to be in that situation this year, because you just feel like they're so much better than a 500 team on paper, but yet here we are, and they're not really, doing much better than that. Tonight, well, at least they did not, lose this opportunity. Although, like you said, it looked like they were trying to. They looked like they were trying to find a way to not come up with 2 points tonight. At least
let's dive into this Columbus game, okay? Because the Blue Jackets are not a good team.
No, they're
now
not.
I know Elvis Merzlikins or whatever his name is. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize.
Sure,
he played very good tonight. He made some really nice saves. I just felt that we did not have, like, you know what it is when I watch the Devils and they play a lesser team and they come out on top because they're a better team. The main guys showed up late. They won the game. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I think the blueprint on how to beat the Devils is out there. I think it's a very easy blueprint.
Right.
You know, I did have a problem with some of the penalties called tonight or whatever, but again, that didn't cost us the game. It's just, I feel like if you play us a little physical, I find at least in this game, like the Devils refuse to try and score dirty goals. Yep. I feel like everything's got to be a fucking highlight reel. And
cycled forecheck, sustained pressure. That's not really their thing anymore, and it's like,
and it needs to be.
Yeah, it's definitely not playoff style hockey. That's for sure.
They get down 2-1. Most of the third period, they're battling back. They finally, it was a Mercer, right? Got the second goal. And then just Siegenthaler, a minute later?
About a minute and a half later.
Completely shits the bed on that play. And, V probably should have had that one too, but that was mostly, if not all, on Siegenthaler.
Yeah, and it was like another instance of poor, it's never great to get scored on, but this team does find a way to let some really poorly timed goals in.
Yeah.
So you tie it up after the whole second period, the whole third period, can't make any headway. You tie it up, great, and then almost the very next shift, come out, defensive mistake, goaltender not bailing you out, and you lost the lead again. And every Devils fan's got to feel like, this is basically over. And yet it wasn't, and that's great and all, but you just, like you said, this is not a recipe for success. People might have the recipe to beat the Devils, and I see what you're saying with that. Physicality is not something they're responding well to. Taking away, open ice and playing a little bit of a trap style. Seems like the Devils don't want to work for those goals if they can't be, as you said, the highlight reel goals. But yet, like we said, Columbus is not a great team, so. No. What do? They can't hold on to the lead. You've got to be, kicking yourself if you're a Blue Jackets fan, because you had the lead not once but twice in the third period. Couldn't hold on to it, despite a very good effort from your goaltender. So, but you play this game over with the Devils' effort against numerous other teams. They're going to come out, not on top. A team that plays solid and can give you a professional performance. Better than Columbus is going to destroy us if we play that way.
And the Devils need to stop playing down to their opponents. They need to go in. And, for whatever reason, they have trouble at home. And they absolutely should have lost that game before Luke Hughes decided to do his best Cale Makar impression and go coast to coast with one of the prettiest goals you're going to see this year. That was just pure effort and speed and skill. And it just had all five guys on the ice on the Blue Jackets just on their heels, and it was just an amazing goal. Gets them back in. They go to overtime, and I'm sorry, if you give the Devils more than 2 chances with possession of the puck in overtime, you're probably going to lose that game.
And 3-on-3, the skill level this team has is just deadly. We don't play the whole game. We're not going to play any of the playoffs 3-on-3, so. You can't get too excited about that, but it is pretty awesome to behold to see this team in an overtime situation. They can do anything.
The important thing is they pulled the 2 points out. Timo with the big overtime goal, keeping his hot streak alive. Timo's finally starting to play like Timo, but then I feel like, we're getting the goaltending now. We're even getting some of that team defense for the most part together now.
Right.
And now our goal scoring has dried up. What is
going
Meier
on? Coming online, you see Hughes cooling off. You see, Bratt going away. Now look, they're scoring up on this. They're coming up on the score sheet. Jack is doing a lot of great things. Just watching he's getting 2 turnovers in his favor. He's putting shots on goal. So it's not like these guys are completely, or at least in the case of Jack, he's not there, not making an effort, but something's off, right? I think we got to agree. Something's off with Jack. It kind of has been for this last little stretch since maybe he got that hat trick. But, ever since then, he's been kind of a little off. It's not been, things have not been clicking for him. And it's hard to say exactly why. I don't think it's really a lack of effort. He might be feeling a little frustration. and maybe that's showing at times. But yeah, you're right, because great to see Timo. Imagine if we could all play at the level we're expected to the same time. What an amazing thing that would be. It feels like so far that's not to be this season. That we're not going to get now. Maybe it will, and if it does, it's going to be awesome. But right now it's like it has not really happened where we get the whole team healthy and playing anywhere close to their best hockey all at the same time.
The crazy thing is, you don't often say this, but I'm actually glad that the Devils are now heading out on the road. They do play much better on the road, and they have 2 tough games. I mean, Ottawa really makes me nervous because they play an extremely physical game.
Yeah.
They're shit on defense. Their goaltending is meh, but they play physical, and they can score. They do have some guys in their lineup that can score, and we haven't played them yet this year. They're looking to make up a ton of ground, so they're going to be hungry. And then Boston, back-to-back. Now, I thought Vanacek played really well tonight.
Yes.
He kept them in. The last goal was suspect, but he made a lot of nice saves tonight. He really can't fault goaltending at all tonight.
Right.
But we do have to talk about the 600-pound gorilla in the room named Nico Dawes. So
called up.
Dawes gets called up. Schmidt is a healthy scratch. Now, Schmidt can get sent down without going through waiver wire.
Right.
Now, there's the roster freeze is in place until tomorrow, I think, at midnight, the 28th, I think.
Yeah, I believe that's what I understood.
So what do you think? Schmidt's going to get sent down as soon as that freeze is over?
It looks like it. If not, what are we doing here with Dawes? We want you to sit on the bench for a while. It looks like they're moving him into, try him out as the backup to perhaps, take more than just a backup role down the road. Who knows? Just want to get a look at him, it looks like.
Do you think that because we talked about this last week before it was done, if a move can't get made for a goaltender, and it mostly being John Gibson, because I really don't think there's too many other guys out there. I've heard Jake Allen's name around. I don't want Jake Allen. I don't want a 37-year-old Jake Allen or however old he is. I
don't know if that would happen too, because remember Brodeur, when he went to St. Louis, he was involved with the Jake Allen, placement there. So I don't know if he would, want to go, retread that for that reason alone.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. But, so I mean, if maybe you can't get the deal that you're comfortable with for a guy like Gibson, I guess, we talked about, like we said, the main thing to do, then you have to take a look at Dawes. You have to. You got this guy he's the future, and he's sitting down in Utica, and he's playing great. I think he's got like a 970 save percentage since he's been back.
Right.
So, I mean,
you have to look at him. It seems like goaltenders are going to go higher than usual. They usually, they go for a good dollar for teams that are looking to upgrade. And this year, it looks like a lot of teams are not really satisfied, but yet they think they have a chance, kind of like the Devils. So, the amount of suitors out there for John Gibson, you can't feel confident that you're going to land him in New Jersey. Looking at Dawes is a great idea. Plus, I'm not going to say anybody's closing the door on Schmidt. I don't think so at all. But I think that it's like, okay, here we know how it's worked out so far this season with Schmidt. Probably not a bad idea to get a look at Dawes and send Schmidt for some time back down. And maybe he'll return stronger if need be,
So Dawes, you think he's got to start on Friday night against Ottawa, right?
There's a reason they brought him in for this back-to-back, right? They had to do it before the roster freeze, so it seems obvious that he's going to play one of those 2 games. That said, right, how many times this year, I think there was twice they played Schmidt. They get both back-to-backs.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the logic of that to this day. I get what they were trying to do. So they could surprise me because I haven't seen 100% logical moves. I think the logical move is to give Dawes one of those 2 games. I mean, would you give him like Ottawa more than Boston? Does it matter? I mean, I don't know.
I think I would probably want Vanacek against Boston. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, we don't know what we have in Dawes. So, in a perfect world, I want Dawes to come in whichever game he gets, Friday or Saturday, and just play good. Play good, solid goalie, and we can look at this and say, well, okay, here's the tandem now. Maybe it is Dawes and Vanacek, and we don't have to go and give up a king's ransom for John Gibson, because whoever does land John Gibson, he will be traded. I believe that. Right. Anaheim knows that there is probably 5 or 6 teams that have Stanley Cup aspirations, and they have goaltending problems. So somebody, most likely Toronto, will overpay for John Gibson.
Yes.
I don't think Carolina will do it. I don't think they're going to overpay for a goaltender, even though they're having goaltending problems. And I think Tom Fitzgerald, I don't know if he would overpay. I think he would probably sit back and not pull a trade for John Gibson with Dawson Mercer in it and maybe Schmidt in it or Vanacek in it or somebody else in that deal. I just don't know
if
he
it was a sign and trade
trigger.
where we got a good deal locked up. But for a rental situation, that seems
he has
more
a couple
for
of years,
Toronto.
Gibson has a couple of years
not
at
coming in
$6.5 million a year though.
Okay.
It's a big nut.
Right,
so
you get him for a couple of years.
I mean, I like this right now, knowing that Dawes is in the wings, because I am extremely excited to see what he can do. I think 2 years since he's been up here, he's done, hopefully this guy's game has gotten a lot more finely tuned, and hopefully he can come in and fit seamlessly and play good goal. Because
I wouldn't expect it, but given that they did this to Schmidt twice, if he gets the first game and plays well, do you think he plays the second game?
God, I hope not.
The
if they want to ruin him, sure.
Yeah, right. Who knows? It'd be interesting if he gets the first game, because we're not going to know if he's definitely not going to play the second game. Unless
the goalie has number 30 on their back of their jersey, you don't play him back to backs. It's that simple. This is both times they tried it with Schmidt, and both times it was like a catastrophic failure. So we have to. I mean, the last time they had him in, I think, what did he face? He faced 5 minutes. He faced 2 shots. They both went in. He was gone. So,
which I was surprised, because he was, he's a young goaltender. I would have thought but I guess, for whatever reason, maybe this is the way they're coming up, even at the lower levels now, is that they're not used to these back-to-backs. They're not built for it, maybe on some level. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
I honestly feel like the rate that we're going, in another 10 years, it'll be commonplace to have 3 goalies in a rotation on a team. I feel like this is the way we're going.
It's like closer pitchers kind of situation.
Yeah, it's getting that way, where this guy only comes in to face, left-handed reliever, left-handed batters or whatever, that kind of thing. You're going to have, well, this goalie does really good against these teams, and this guy does good against these teams. So now we have a nice conglomerate of 3 goalies that can kind of climb in there and play whenever we need them, which I hate. I believe I'm very old school. You are too with that. One guy, 80% of the workload, second guy, 20% of the workload. And
I just think it was so much more fun, because then, that they kind of were the character of that team, and it was kind of cool. Today, the character of the goaltenders is really just not even there. They're all just, kind of playing almost interchangeably.
Yeah. Yeah, you've said that many times, and I never thought about it really until you started talking about it, and you're 100% right. You go on to ESPN Plus and go put on hockey games, most games, if it's not Shesterkin or Vasilevsky or Aiden Hill or one of those
Flurry,
guys.
Somebody who has their own style. Throwback.
For the most part, they're cookie cutter. You can just take one out, replace the next 6'4", big guy, whatever, and they all play the exact same style. They all have the exact same builds, and it's kind of boring. I want to see those days, like you said, of Hasek, Fleury, Brodeur, Waugh. They all played different styles. They were all just super fun to watch. Now it's like back in the day, you had to goal scorers would always really study the goaltenders and what their tendencies were, how they play. Now I don't feel like they probably don't even do that a whole lot, because everybody's
It's funny. I think they probably do analyze it, but the differences are so minute that it almost doesn't matter.
Right.
Like they're probably do more research in this as like from a coaching level. A lot of teams, there's so much more tape and analytics now. They'll throw the numbers in it and be like, okay, well, here's where we should shoot based on the numbers. Where it's like,
right.
And I don't even think it really matters much. I think in the end, all these numbers are going to be similar from one style to the other. I do kind of love how some of these crazy goals, like, the lacrosse style, Bedard, Michigan, and, Zegras, and that kind of, I kind of like enjoy how this RVH, constantly on our knees style is leading to goal scorers exploding that even as tall as these guys are, they got an opening around the mask area and that top foot of the net. And they're looking to put, unexpected goals in, goals off the mask, stuff like that. It's crazy.
Do you think the NHL at some point will ban those types of goals? The Michigan goal?
Why should they? No, I don't think so.
I don't think they should, but I also can see goaltenders really making they were talking about this actually on XM. I was listening a little bit today, and they were like, well, what happens the first time a guy takes a penalty shot and pulls it up on his blade and just skates it in and tosses it in the net?
The crowd
carries it in waist high the whole time.
This is what the NHL wants. They want
these guys are getting
goals like that.
So good at that you're going to have guys barely even putting the puck on the ice sometimes. Some of these goals, like that Bedard goal, like you talked about, and Zegras, does it all the time when he can. But man, it is so much fucking fun to watch. It's just awesome to see. And
the only thing that could go wrong from a safety point of view is if somebody's going to get a toe of a stick, blade through their cat eye cages, which are illegal at collegiate levels because of that very reason. You can't get a narrow blade of a stick in there. And I guess trying those Michigan style goals, maybe that's inevitable someday. That'd be pretty awful if that happens. But we're talking about a low percentage chance there, and I think everybody loves those goals. I'd
love to see somebody try it on a penalty shot or a shootout shot.
Well, it beats those slow ass penalty shots. Now, what's his name?
Worst.
Who's super famous for doing this? There's a couple guys doing it, but there's one guy, lose me right now, just coming in at such a slow speed. It just makes it no fun to watch.
No,
it really is
annoying.
Not cool. And I don't really like to shoot out anyway, but something like that just totally takes away from it. And then from a safety point of view, I think if the goaltenders as a group are ever going to object to anything, would be the fact that they're a little bit more open season. They can kind of be hit, with a little bit more impunity. The goal interference call is not what it used to be. It definitely went from one extreme in the 90s where, you couldn't even have a skate in the crease. And it didn't even affect the goaltender. It was on the other, your skate blade as a forward was touching the crease in the opposite corner when the play came from, and they would call the goal back. That was the stupidest thing in the world.
It really was.
Now the pendulum has swung the other way, where you'll literally see the goaltender getting taken out of the play with basically a hit, and they're counting as a goal. They're not calling interference penalties, with the regularity that I think some of the goaltenders would like.
I am extremely friggin' worried about that Ottawa game because I'm looking at this team and it's like, Brady Tkachuk's going to bring the physical style, and that team plays the way he plays. And I just don't know. I'm still so nervous about the Devils not having an answer to that there's nobody that can step up and, just take it to task and, let you know you're not going to be doing this the whole game. And we don't. And I fear that we're going to end up getting one of these games going into Ottawa where they play physical, they get us off our game. Maybe they take a penalty, a dirty hit or something like that, but just something to get us out of our game. And next thing you know, we let 5 or 6 in and we're lose 6-2. And, that's the thing that makes me nervous. I feel like whenever a team does that to us, we completely fall apart. And
Those cluster goals we let in, right? There's just a couple on top of each other that just blow the game open against us. Yeah, that's been the MO.
Hopefully, Nico Dawes can put an end to that. I really like Nico Dawes. I'm so happy he's up with the big club now. I mean, I'm not going to get Schmidt.
2 Nicos on the team again, which has got to be the only teams that can say that.
So, which one's Nico the lesser? Do we have one right now? It's got to be Dawes, right?
Yeah, it's got to be Dawes. I mean, he's in a position where if he comes up huge, he can quickly become not the lesser Nico. But, I mean, come on, he's our best defensive forward. He's also great for clutch goals, and he's our captain. So Nico's he sure can't be the lesser, right?
No, he's the greater.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, but if Dawes comes and shuts out Ottawa on Friday night, if he gets to start,
right,
he's going to be making a run for Nico the greater, and
yes,
the captain will be Nico the lesser.
Yeah, we got to do something now that we don't have two Jespers.
No, because that was easy. Boquist was always the lesser.
He was never going to be the lesser. Yeah,
and if he was still with this team, it might have stuck. It might have stuck,
mm-hmm.
but he's not. So I don't know, man. I'm happy we got the 2 points. They were needed, but man, the whole time I'm just watching this game saying, we're going to let this go. We're going to lose these 2 points. I mean, this is just unacceptable at this point. And right now, as the standings go, we picked up the 2 points. So we are at 38.
Okay.
We are 1 point behind Washington, and we are 2 points right now behind the Philadelphia Flyers. I think they were idle tonight. But we're 2 points behind the third place Flyers in the Metro, and we're 3 points behind the second place Islanders. So we are right there.
And, we have a game in hand on a few teams, and only Washington has played fewer games than us.
Correct.
So that's in our favor. So that's good. But, as much as you hold some games in hand, that's a tough schedule now and all the way down the stretch, right? We talked about this on the previous show. The Devils have one of the toughest second half of the season's schedules in the NHL.
It's not easy. But, I mean, well, our standings are going to change soon because it looks like the Hurricanes are about to beat the Predators, so they're going to get 2 points there.
Okay.
So, yeah, those standings are not going to stay for long. But we'll go over quickly Today, the Panthers beat the Lightning 3-2. That doesn't affect us. The Rangers whooped up on the Capitals 5-1, which is actually what we wanted to happen, so we can maybe jump.
Mm-hmm.
Washington, we won 4-3. The Senators beat the Maple Leafs 4-2 tonight. Senators have been playing some good hockey, so that is not a game that they can take lightly. Right. The Bruins beat up on the Sabres 4-1. Man, are the Sabres the biggest disappointment of the season so far?
I mean, we thought this was going to be this year's Devils, emerging speedy team. It has not happened for them.
Now, this is Pittsburgh putting up a performance against the Islanders that we are still waiting to see from the Devils. 7-0 Pittsburgh over the Islanders tonight. Wow. Again, another team that we had to jump. And a team that's behind us that put the whooping on them, so that was good. But 7-0. What the hell happened to the Islanders?
They did not show up, I guess.
No, not tonight. 6-3, Minnesota Wild over the Red Wings. The Blues beat the Stars 2-1. The Avalanche are in the second period right now with a 4-1 lead over the Arizona Coyotes. Jets and Blackhawks are tied at 1. Kraken Flames tied at 1. Sharks over the Kings in the first, 1-0. And the Golden Knights are, wow, holy shit. 4-0 Ducks over the Knights in the first period right now. So there's and the Flyers play Vancouver tomorrow night, and that's in Vancouver. So we need to become Vancouver Canuck fans.
Right.
For tomorrow. That's so. A couple things went our way, but once again, like we've said a million times, it's fun to scoreboard watch for us, but the team can't do that. They can't give a shit about who's above them, who's under them. Just got to go out there and try and get points.
Right. And if you are watching the scoreboard and thinking about that in your point standings, you're not happy that you gave away a point to Columbus when you're clearly a better team than that. Yep. I mean, it's hard to say that when you came from behind to win the game because you almost got nothing out of it. But, before this game is played, you got to say this is a team we should not give a point to. But
at least
here we are.
They're dead last in the Metropolitan Division, so It's not like we gave a point to Philly or the Capitals or the Islanders.
Somebody we're trying to catch.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you can find any kind of silver lining in the fact that we gave a point away, that's it.
Yeah,
I did make a little wager today on DraftKings, and
nice.
Which is the official sports betting partner of the Hockey Podcast Network and the NHL, in case you didn't know.
Oh, wow.
But I took Brendan Smith to score a goal tonight. I heard he was on left wing when I saw the lineup, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put a few bucks on that Brendan Smith is going to get a goal tonight. As you can tell, I lost.
Yes.
I thought he was due. It's only been 2 years, right?
Right. I mean, it's not like you said he was going to, make a great defensive play. That would have been crazy.
No.
But score a goal is probably more likely.
I should have taken him to take a penalty. I would have lost too because he didn't take any penalties tonight. But
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Whether or not,
safer bet.
Whether or not you were betting on Brendan Smith to get a penalty or Brendan Smith to get a score goal or betting on any other hockey game for the Pittsburgh Penguins to get a shutout, all you have to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use code THPN. Do you know what that stands for, Dan?
So I should know this. Jeez,
you should.
I don't know, something about tits. And I don't know after that. I forget how it went.
H is
hose.
P is
that's got to be a penis.
You go with penis. And N.
No comment. That's N for no comment.
Yeah. Tits, hose, penis, no comment. That's all you have to do. Code THPN. New customers, or it might stand for the Hockey Podcast Network.
That makes a lot more sense.
Sure does.
Yeah.
New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN, the Hockey Podcast Network. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, where we will be on Friday. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved. So I'm guessing we should have a new script by 2024. So I spent about 4 hours yesterday cleaning my garage.
Nice.
Top to bottom.
I'm excited about that.
So on New Year's Eve, there will be ping pong to be played because the table is cleaned. Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I hope I can give a good game with my recent injuries. But
recent injuries? You always kick everybody's ass in ping pong.
I'm fast turning into a cripple. I gotta see. I got this appointment coming up. I gotta see what's going on.
What's going on with you, Dan? What's falling apart?
Falling apart. My hips all messed up, jacked up hip. Probably gonna have to do a hip replacement surgery. It seems like. Get more info in a couple of weeks.
You seriously?
That sucks. I can barely do
a fucking hip replacement.
Yeah, that's what they said in the MRI. So it's like shit. So
yeah, I mean it's over.
Yeah,
like why do you bother anymore?
That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. It's crazy. Like
might as well
have
be
good
80.
days and bad days. Yeah, exactly. And like the good days, it's like all right, it's not so bad. But the bad days, you can't do anything. It's been miserable.
Maybe I'll get that old guy on the Devil commercials that makes canes out of hockey sticks, and he can make you a cane.
I'm seeing
his wife says it's a work of art.
I know that, it used to just crack me up, and now I'm like, oh, it's not as funny because it's me now.
No, but isn't a hockey stick basically a cane?
Yeah, exactly. It's already a cane.
So what did he do?
He just ruined a hockey stick. That's
he basically just ruined like a $200 hockey stick.
It's a work of art.
You seriously, you're that fucked up, dude? I had no idea you were that bad.
Yeah, that's what they're telling me. We'll see. I don't know. But for a while, I refused to believe it because I once had a shoulder thing that they were talking about a surgery, but I rehabbed it. It's really good. So I wanted to believe that, but I'm actually working on this for like a year, and it's just getting worse.
So, like, when you say like some days, like, is it like weather related and shit? Like, do you
I can't
feel
say.
like, or is
I
it
don't know.
just some days you're in pain and other days you're not?
Yeah, and it's a matter of like what level of activity. So I still try to go to the gym, 4 or 5 times a week if I can, but no more like, running, just elliptical, trying to do like that low pressure stuff.
Yeah,
But even still, like,
but you're not playing hockey anymore, then, are you?
oh, I had stopped about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. I was playing this
Oh
time last
wow.
year, and then I think it was really painful and like couldn't sleep after playing. Uh, and then I kind of like, all right, I'm gonna take the rest of the season off. I think I said that in maybe February or March,
Oh
and
man.
it's just no fun getting old. What are you gonna do?
No,
So
that's terrible.
yeah, I know. I'm hoping that it whatever the resolution is to this, that maybe some more men's league is my future. When you get up there in age, it's got to come an end some point. But I was kind of hoping to play up until maybe even like 60 and stuff. I know a lot of guys who play well into their 60s. It's kind of cool.
Well, I think when you play hockey up until the point that you need a hip replacement, you did pretty good.
Yeah, you know what too? It is. I think the goaltending thing. You're
Yeah,
jamming
sure.
your knees down on the ice, and your hips are taking the brunt of that. You're trying to, and over the year, like I was never like super super flexible, but I had decent flexibility, and over the years I got less. But you play around that. Who cares? It's all men's league hockey. But then it started where you get painful. It goes from like pain to like lack of mobility to even like walk the next day. And that's where I'm like, okay, now I got to do something about this.
That's fucking awful, man.
Yeah, I know. I think about like the pros, man, because they play how many more hours now. They're also in better condition, so
Sure.
like there's that there. I'm sure their durability's upped by their conditioning too, but still, the wear and tear factor is not to be underestimated. And the butterfly style. I mean, I think that's tough on your hips and knees and all that stuff.
Well, think about how good you'll be ready to go with a brandy new hip.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if they gave me some kind of crazy swivel hip and stuff? I would want to get the
You
other one
should
done
ask them for
immediately.
one.
Yeah, and just do like a perfectly
Just
90-degree butterfly with your legs
well,
like perfectly out there. That'd be awesome.
or even better, put some kind of swivel just on the bottom of your spine, so you can just
Yes.
spin your whole body around, just your lower half.
Yeah,
Talk
give me the
about kick
hatchet.
saves.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
yeah, it would be.
So my daughter tells me the other day, she has a friend of hers that lives in Indiana, and she's
Right,
going
right.
out. She's going out to Indiana in like October or whatever to go see Taylor Swift. So
Oh, cool.
whatever her friend's name is, I don't even know. She's like, yeah, she's a huge Devil fan. I'm like, how
Really?
does a 17-year-old girl from Indiana become a Devil fan?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I thought that was just nothing but basketball in
Yeah,
Indiana.
no, is diehard. Apparently, according to
Wow.
my daughter, she is diehard Devil fan. And I asked, how does she become a Devil fan? 2 words: Jack Hughes. That's all she says. So
Oh,
this girl
yeah.
loves Jack Hughes. So I want
Yes.
to pose a question to any listeners. I want to hear from people outside the metropolitan area. I want to know if there are anybody that listens to us that are Devil fans, or if maybe you just get this message through whatever. Maybe I'll post it on social media or whatever.
Sure.
But I want to know if you are outside of this area, the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania area, and you're a Devil fan, how did you become a Devil fan?
Now
How
you're
does somebody?
specifically not looking for somebody who like used to live here and moved out
No, no,
there.
no. That's nope.
You
I
want to
don't
know
want.
like
Oh, I grew up a
somebody who
Devil fan.
grew up away from Jersey, but
Yes.
yet is a Devil fan.
Like this girl has never been to New Jersey, but
Right.
she's a Devil fan. Hell, I've never been to Minnesota. I'm a giant Viking fan.
Right.
So, I told the story on the show quite a few times how I became a Viking fan. How did you become a Devil fan? What was it about this team that caught your eye? Is it just, I like hockey and I was looking for a favorite team or whatever? Or, my dad was a fan and it just kind of, through osmosis, I became one. I'm very curious. So anybody who fits that description of being an out-of-state resident, never been to Jersey or never lived in Jersey, if you were a Devil fan, please tell us how that happened, because I would love to know. You can DM us on social media, or you can just email us at unclepuckers@gmail.com. Would love to read some of these stories
Yeah.
if we get some online. So
I mean, I would think a lot of the people who respond are going to have similar views to the young lady you were talking about from Indiana, because It's something we're just not used to. We haven't had too many of those like legitimate superstars, that wearing our jersey, especially goal scorers, right? We have some great players. Don't get me wrong. Elias, amazing goal scorer. We've had an incredible defenseman, but we all know it's the goal scorers that, bring people in. And Jack Hughes is that guy. I mean, he's pumped up by the NHL and, hockey media in general because he's that kind of talent. So
and
that's kind of cool.
Doesn't hurt that he's a handsome young man as well. So that definitely helps.
The young ladies dig him for sure.
You see the smile on his face when Luke scored the tying goal.
Yes.
Oh my! He was the happiest guy on the ice. That was awesome to see.
It was a big turnaround from when they collided, and he stared daggers at his brother. And I thought we might see a brother-on-brother fight there.
Yeah, that was
right.
Did Luke? I heard that Luke got some teeth knocked out in that one. Is that true?
That right? I didn't know that.
I heard that he lost a few chiclets on that one.
Oh my god, it was kind of funny. I mean, it worked out in the end, but it was oh my god, everything's going wrong. Yeah.
It really was. We had that in the Detroit game, right? Two Red Wings collided. They both left the ice. That's right. They were both out. That sucks, man, because that's the last thing you're looking for when you got the puck. And I know you got to keep your head up, but you're not looking for your another teammate to be coming down and taking you out.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, most of my hockey injuries came from people on our team or friends that we were playing with.
Yep.
Yeah. When I got my nose split open.
Well,
on the ball game. Oh man, that was friggin' so painful.
That was something else. I won't never forget that. Just turning and looking and just that nose exploding.
I was sitting 3 feet away from the net.
It was not a good place to sit.
No, but just shoot it on net. Don't shoot it that wide.
Right.
Yeah, that was bad, but
just turn and watch it go by me in the net and explode your face.
Explode my face is right. Do you think that these guys are going to make the playoffs? I mean, what do you honestly think?
I still have faith. I think they will. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Imagine a time where everybody's healthy and everybody plays even close to expectations. It's going to be a hell of a team. So maybe we have not reached that yet, but we're going to. If we do, we make the playoffs. Okay, if we get a significant amount of time, not just a week or two, where people can play at their level, they're going to be able to do what it takes to make the playoffs. That's not a given. That's going to happen. But I think in some sense we're due because we haven't had that this season. So the law of averages maybe will pan out for us. And it's just I just don't want to believe that a team with this kind of talent won't find a way to get their shit together and let a whole season pass. We were talking a lot about the coaching, and I think everything we said was correct and justified. But on the other hand, I almost feel like this team maybe doesn't need a coach to be a playoff team. They have so much talent. Guys, figure it out. Figure it out amongst yourselves. All those things we said are true, and I'm still not against doing moves if we can make our team better. But the team as it stands, man, I just think they're due. They're due to come together. They're due to gel as a team finally and play a lot better than they have been. So I'm not going to give up hope yet. But let's face it, it's hanging by a thread. Just as much as we're, might say, oh yeah, they're due. They've also been kind of injury free for the most part lately. And maybe they're due for something like that. I would tell you that if I knew for a fact that they were going to get one or two big level injuries for significant amounts of time, then I would totally change my mind and tell you that I don't think they can survive having one or two of their top, players out right now. I just don't. I think they won't make the playoffs if that happens. So it's definitely on a razor's edge here. It's not where I want it to be at the end of 2023. Looking at their playoff chances, we should have been talking about can they hold on to the division lead? Can they hold on to the conference lead? Can they fight for the President's Trophy? No, all those things. We're not talking about that. We're talking about will they make the top 8 in the Eastern Conference?
They weren't in a playoff position during our Thanksgiving break. They weren't in a playoff position during Christmas. Now we're rolling into the new year, and you think they were in the top 3 for about 3 hours, I think, totally, like this. Yeah. after one of our games before I think the Islanders or Flyers played or whatever. But I had said on a show that I firmly believe, and back when I said this, I did, that at some point throughout this regular season, they're going to be the NHL's hottest team. They're just going to go on a run where everybody's just saying, holy shit, look out for the Devils. They're playing the best hockey in the league right now.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if I believe that anymore. I think, like you said, the capability is all there. But for whatever reason, things aren't clicking all together. And again, I still have huge questions about the coaching staff. And it's not just Lindy, it's the whole coaching staff. Again, you give up the first goal tonight. Like, why are we not? And I thought we played good in the first period, so I'm not going to say we didn't start the game on time. But what is wrong with this team? Why did this team always have to play from behind? I want to see them just put their foot on a team's throat and not give them a fucking ounce of air. And they never do it. They just, every game is playing catch up, winning in the last couple of minutes, or
no matter what team they're
getting
playing.
your ass kicked.
Right. They're not even doing that against the softer teams.
Yeah. I mean, we had a couple of games where we won some big games, but, you know, we need to start consistently scoring goals, and that's going to help our defense. That's going to help our goaltending. That's going to help all of it. But, like, the formula that we used last season to win all those games has not been apparent at all this year. And I understand. Teams know how to play you. All that other bullshit is still there. But that skill is still there. Like, I mean, there's also that piece of me that's like, yeah, I don't think enough conversation was made about the amount of changes that went into this team from last year to this year. Yeah, it is when you turn your roster over that much, you know, hell, we did about as much roster turnover in the offseason like Toronto did at the trade deadline last year. Right. You know, they pulled a round out, but then they got their butts whooped by Florida. So, like, they weren't. It takes, my point being, it takes a long time to gel. And we're not replacing guys on this team with established stars. We're replacing them mostly with rookies, guys that have not played. And I think that, like, you see those flashes from Luke Hughes, like tonight. But I thought Simone Nemec had a bit of a rough night tonight. Right. But they're going to get it. And I don't necessarily know if this is the year. I think the pieces are there for the Devils to have a very good team for many years to come. But because of that, like, if they had kept Graves and they had kept Severson and this team was, for the most part, the same this year, I think we would be doing much better. But I do think that I don't think enough has been talked about that. Like, this roster turnover has really, it's taken a long time for this team to really gel.
I did not anticipate this kind of problem with it. Look, I looked at our roster changes as in a couple different ways, maybe through some rose-colored glasses. Number one, I said, okay, wow, some of the moves we're making, I'm happy to lose a guy like Severson. Figured that was going to, by itself, make us a more dependable team. Not necessarily if we put somebody who on paper is going to fill his shoes and experience and then some, but then turns out he's taking a lot of penalties. He's not being defensively solid at all times, and that's like, you know, Smith. So, you know, like, I did not anticipate going backwards with some of these moves we made. And, you know, a lot of things have taken a while. Maybe they're coming online now. I'm still holding out hope. One thing I can point to tell you, hey, wait a second, don't say that, you know, it's too late for them, is Meier playing better, right? Yeah. We've talked about this, and even as recently as a few weeks ago, we were just talking about how Meier, you got to, we anticipate more at this point of the season. Well, here it is. It's coming on. If he can sustain that, build on it, be consistent the whole way through, I mean, that's just what we needed. And, you know, so there is reason to be hopeful. We still got a lot of problems. Like, we cannot get everybody playing their best at once. It's just not happening. I think it's possible. And if we get there, it's going to be amazing to behold. But it's a question mark for sure. You cannot call this a playoff-bound team. Lock it up. It's cool. They're good. Don't worry. They got the skill. They're going to make it. No, they could totally implode. I just, I think that they might pull it out.
And the way that they're playing, if they were to be getting to a playoff spot at this, because right now with this team playing probably at like 60% of what they could be, they are still only 2 points away from a playoff spot right now.
Right.
Probably will end up being 3 or 4 by the end of the night. So let's say though, let's even say we started the day at 4 points out of a playoff spot. And this is them playing at about 60% of their capability, or at least what we believe their capability is.
Right.
If things really did start to click, I stand by that. This team can turn into a juggernaut and start rolling opponents. But for whatever reason, it's just not there right now. And like you said, maybe we are turning a point. I'm not concerned about Jack. He's just going to start turning it up. I give Lindy Ruff a lot of shit, but I will also give him praise when I think he deserves it or whatever. But that line of Mercer and Mercer and Meier and McLeod is such a good friggin' line.
Yes.
They are so much fun to watch. Like the instant chemistry, and it's like, there's our third line. And if they can produce on a steady basis for the rest of the season like they are, then you got the second line, the Jack, Toffoli, Brat line. Like, they're going to do what they do. Palat, Heischer. Who was Heischer first with tonight? It was Holtz, right? They moved him up.
Right.
And then they were, and then of course he started messing them up, put Mercer up there, whatever, back and
Palat
forth.
They had playing with Mercer. In fact, his goal was from Mercer and
McLeod. Yeah. That's right. That first goal was a thing of beauty. That was such a nice goal. But maybe they are. Maybe this is the time. These next 2 games are big. If they can go on the road and get 4 points from Ottawa and Boston, I think maybe they'll be turning a corner here.
But you're asking, are they a playoff team? And that is a question that you can still be reasonably hopeful for. But I will say this: the way in which they make the playoffs is going to define whether you think they have any shot at doing anything with that spot in the playoffs. Because if they come in hot, you got a very good reason to say, dude, this team can do some damage.
Yep.
But if they come limping in and, now they're playing at 60, 65% of what we think they can do. And
they're done in the first round.
Exactly. Especially the way they've been playing these games. This is the furthest way you can win away from a playoff style win. Like those are not the wins that they have been getting like tonight. They come from behind, can't get your shit together for a lot of the game, and then you finally do an 11th hour. That is a good way to get bounced out the first round of the playoffs. You cannot rely on those kind of wins. The goals are harder to come by. The teams are clamping down really tight in third period with leads, not like Columbus did tonight, just giving away leads left and right. You are not going to do anything in the playoffs winning the way they did tonight. So a lot has to change before, And so will they make it? I think yes. Will they be a playoff force? Oh boy, I think right now that's a total coin flip. We're going to know by the way they make the playoffs, should they make them, if they even have a chance, I think.
And I do think that they're going to turn it around. I mean, they are going to have stretches of, I'm hoping that they don't have really bad stretches for the rest of the season, but I do think they are going to they have to go on some sort of run. More than 3 games worth. This team, this is the perfect time, but we're not even at halfway through the season yet. So there is a whole lot of hockey to play, but you do kind of get a feeling of, like, we know who's out. There are teams that you're not even going to go there. You also have those other teams that you're looking at saying, I don't know if they could sustain it. The Islanders are one of them to me. Like, I just don't know if the Islanders could sustain that playoff positioning. I do believe Philadelphia will sustain it. I think that if the Devils
have a great year, and they really responded to Tortorella. 2 things I didn't think I was going to say.
Hard-working team. They're just ahead of schedule. They play just really smart hockey. There's no stars on that team, but they play smart hockey. They're smart defensively. They're smart positionally. They block a ton of shots. They get their sticks in the lanes. They get good goaltending, and they get timely goals. That is a recipe for success in the playoffs. And I think that if we do make that spot, top 3, 2 or 3, that's who we're going to play in the first round. We're going to have a Devil Flyer matchup, which would be awesome and so much fun to see. Definitely. I would love to beat the Devils. I mean, beat the Devils, beat the Flyers and the Rangers in the same year in the playoffs.
That would be something. We have not had that experience.
Nope.
To go through both of them in the same. And we had some great teams that did beat both of them, but not in the same playoff year.
Nope.
Right? I don't think that's ever happened.
No, but the 2 times, 2 out of the 3 times that we won cups, we had to go through Philadelphia. So let's do it. Philadelphia when Philadelphia is in the playoffs and they're a good hockey team, the league's better because it's just that rivalry between New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and the Islanders is awesome. And if all 4 of them can be there, that would be great for this area. But yeah, I do think they have a lot of work to do, but at the same time, it's like watching this team and you're just sitting here going, they're capable of so much more. Why is this happening right now? They should be shitting on this team. They should have skated the Blue Jackets into the ground.
One nice thing about the Flyers being such a surprisingly good team this year is it makes that Stadium Series, pretty interesting too.
Yeah, going into that, I know I don't know how you guys were, but I think I even said it, like, why are we playing Philly? Like, we should be playing the Rangers. Yes. Like, Philly's below us. That was my stupid ass attitude. Like, we're going to go in and whoop up on the Flyers.
They did not look, I don't think anybody was picking them to be a great team this year, or even nearly as competitive as they are.
And I hate the Flyers. I always have. But when I look at, like, what I hated about the Flyers, other than them just being a rival to the Devils, is I always hated Eric Lindros. Always hated Bobby Clark.
Yep.
There's certain guys I never liked. Now, we met John LeClair, Ron Hextall. We met those dudes in Providence, and they were all super awesome.
And who doesn't like Rod Brindamore?
You gotta love Rod Brindamore.
Love Rod Brindamore, definitely.
Hey, do you know if that whole story with Brindamore and Lindros, is that stuff true?
I don't know. It's always been something that people say that I never really looked up the facts of it. So the story goes that what?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell the story.
Well, I guess Lindros was messing around with Brindamore's wife. And not even a girlfriend, his wife.
No, his wife. That's how the story goes. And Brindamore demanded to get out of Philly.
Right.
And he got shipped over to Hartford and now, of course, Carolina, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah. That was it, that when he found out, I don't think, I had heard it both ways, but the first way was I heard that once it got out that Lindros demanded that he be traded, Brindamore be traded. And that's what happened. After right around when it first came out, I heard that. And then I think it kind of got, Brindamore wanted out because of that. So I don't know if it's true or not, but, I would love to know if that one was true.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been just one of those things that people hating on Lindros, but I never cared for him, so I'm totally cool with it. It makes sense to me. It tracks with me.
Yeah, it tracks with me as well. I mean, we've told the story before. We'll say it real quick. When we were in Providence, Rhode Island, we went up for watching some Providence Bruins games, and this was the year that the Fleet Center at the time, which is now TD Bank Arena or Garden or whatever, the Fleet Center was being built. The Bruins were playing all their preseason games in Providence. So we went up. Bobby went to school there. We went up there. We went to a preseason game. It was Flyers and Bruins. And we were sitting up by the press box. And Eric Lindros, Rod Brindamore. Brindamore wasn't there. It was John LeClair, Hextall, Lindros. And who was that third guy on the Legion of Boom, the Legion of Doom line? Michael Is it Renfro? Who the hell was it?
You're right around it. I don't think that's it, but you're close.
The Legion of Doom.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay.
We did see them all there.
So they were all there, and a bunch of kids came up to get their 88 Flyer jersey signed by Lindros, and he walked. We actually had to stand up so he can walk in front of us. He ignored all the kids, walked in front of us to get to the press box, and would not sign any of these kids' jerseys. So for that, Lindros will always be a scumbag.
Michael Renberg, that's who.
Renberg, jeez, what did I say? Renway.
You said Renfield, who I think is familiar.
Dracula's.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Played by Tom.
What was that?
Remember, he was played by Tom Waits in that Bram Stoker's Dracula way back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was Tom Waits in that role. It's crazy.
I actually liked that Dracula. That was Coppola, right?
Yeah, I mean, people gave Keanu Reeves a lot of shit about.
Well, it was a terrible accent.
He sounded like he was like doing the Point Break accent.
Yeah, exactly.
In Transylvania, he's it was a little crazy, but I do like that one. It was cool.
It's still not the worst. Still not the worst accent though I've heard in a movie. I have to say, to this day, the worst accent I heard was Cameron Diaz doing her Irish accent in Gangs of New York.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty over the top. Yeah, I mean, she made DiCaprio's accent sound perfect.
Yeah, and his wasn't even that great.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I tell you,
the best part of that movie is, of course, Daniel Day-Lewis, right?
Yes.
Phil? He's the best.
Speaking of Daniel Day-Lewis, like I watched There Will Be Blood last night again.
Oh, love that movie,
dude. Even my wife had mentioned this too, and she's like, "He's so fucking intense."
Yes,
like
it's crazy.
I could not imagine being on a movie set with him. Like I would imagine him being because he's so method that like he would be that intense in everything he did. Just ordering lunch or whatever would be that. Like, he was so fucking crazy good in There Will Be Blood. Like, that was, holy shit, man. And, yeah, he's fucking intense.
Have you ever seen the SNL skit where they were doing There Will Be Blood?
No.
You have to check it out. It's fucking hilarious. It's Bill Hader doing, the Daniel Plainview character. And I think H.W., his son.
His son, yeah.
Is played by Amy Poehler, which
she plays the little deaf boy.
Yeah, and it's just great. Look that one up. You get a chance. It's hilarious.
I watched we watched Zack Snyder's new movie on Netflix.
Okay, which one is this?
Rebel Moon.
Okay, what did you think about this?
Well, I found Lucas selling Star Wars to Disney. This was a script that Snyder had presented George Lucas as a Star Wars movie. Okay.
No kidding.
So, right. Lucas then sold Star Wars to Disney and the deal basically went to poop. So he'd been sitting on this script, working on this script, whatever. How long ago did they fucking buy Star Wars? Like 10 years ago or whatever, right? So maybe more, right. So let's say 10, 20 years ago. So he's had this script now for that long. Finally gets Netflix to agree to make the 2 parts of it. I'm not a huge Zack Snyder fan. Like, I'm not a fucking fanboy that's like, Snyder's cut is the bomb. Like, listen, I like superhero movies as much as the next guy. Right. Justice League, I don't give a shit if Joss Whedon did it or Zack Snyder did it. Doesn't matter. It sucks. So it's a garbage movie. So, and I've watched them both and they both suck. So I'm not a huge fan of them, but I was like, let's check this out. Dude, it is such a piece of shit. This Rebel Moon. It's the first part. Afterwards, my wife even said to me, like, I hope they already filmed the second one because there's no way they're going to let them make another one, which they did film it. But dude, it is such a mess of a movie. It was like halfway through, we were just making fun of it. And I'm just like, we've committed this much time. We have to just see it through. But holy shit, dude, what a piece of garbage.
All right, I won't check it out because it sounded like it might have been interesting.
I want you to check it out, though.
Well, yeah, just to enjoy how bad it is.
Yeah, and I'd like to maybe tell me that I'm wrong and tell me that there's more to it than I noticed, and it's maybe I don't know. Just I would if you can spare 2 hours or so of your life, and you want to watch a Star Wars knockoff, because that's all I'll call it. It's a Star Wars knockoff.
Well, that's the thing that, when I looked at it, first thing I thought with that title was Star Wars, and then I thought it's not a Star Wars. So it's like, it reminds me of a million other things that are Star Wars inspired that sometimes just feel like knockoffs, like, like some kind of, Walmart version of something.
Yeah, that was this. Rebel Moon is a Walmart version of Star Wars. So I would like you to find some time and watch it, please.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
You could report back on the show, and we'll discuss. So, all right, I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. Sure. Not bad for the two of us, right?
We got to do some kind of New Year's show. I don't know how we're going to work this.
Saturday is our New Year's show. What do you recommend we do for our New Year's show? Should we have punch and pie?
I definitely have some punch and pie. Yeah, I mean, we should do something like that. That'd be kind of fun.
All right, so let's do New Year's resolutions for the Devils and our show.
Okay, I like that. That's a good idea. Right. It's always a good time to take stock in your life. What's going right? What's going wrong? What is the deal with New Jersey Devils? How do they resolve their season to something better? And then, let's look at the Uncle Puckers state of the Uncle Puckers.
I think the state of the Uncle Puckers is in just a static state of poop, and
Yeah, sure.
I think it should stay there always. But we should talk about it. Like maybe we'll decide for a resolution. Like maybe Tony should shave his mustache. Maybe that would make the show better. Or you shave your beard.
I don't know. I mean,
if you shave your beard, I'll shave my head. I bet that would help the show.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking out loud.
I guess what you said.
If you're still with us, thank you. And wherever you're listening to us, a 5-star review, a positive comment, a like, a subscription, a download. Apparently those count for a lot. It would really help us out in promoting
Download the show 5,000 times, please.
It only reads your IP address once, so all you'll be doing is taking up space on your phone.
Go to 5,000 different IP
Go to
addresses.
5,000 different phones. That's what we're saying to do. And seriously, if you are listening to us and you are a Devil fan outside the state of New Jersey, how the hell did you become a Devil fan? And what is it about this team that you like? And how big of a fan are you? Are you I just check them out once in a while. I don't barely follow them, but if someone asks, I like them. Or are you a diehard? I watch 82 games every year. I don't miss. I have a tattoo of Scott Niedermayer on my leg. Like, that's what I want to know. I want to know,
exactly.
Yeah. So unclepuckers@gmail.com, DM us on Twitter, X, whatever, and we will definitely get back to you. For Dan, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. Thank you so much for checking us out. Hope everyone had a wonderful and Merry Christmas. We'll be back Friday after the Ottawa Senator game at, I think, full force. We'll see you when we see you.
Look us out.
Bye-byes. No, can't do it.
Bobby.
Can't do bye-byes, Bobby. We miss you.
Also, you just signed it at the end. Did a bye-bye.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
I got to get it.